Hey, Jason Palliser here, and today we're going to talk in this video about what documents are needed for us to complete a real estate transaction, specifically wholesale transaction. People are asking us about that, but it's really almost any real estate transaction. There are certain things that we can utilize to make sure that our transactions run smoothly. So I'm just going to talk to you about a few of those here. Like, subscribe, hit the bell if you like the content that we're dropping, and share it with other people. But once you hit the bell, you'll be notified when we drop more good content. Okay. So the more you do that, the more you comment, all this other good stuff. When we're dropping good knowledge on you, the more we'll keep delivering these videos to you. From a document standpoint, here's what I want you to know and understand. To close a real estate transaction, there's a few staples, and then I'll talk to you about a few that come into play from time to time, depending on what type of deal you're doing. And I just want to infuse into your brain some of these that you can go grab. If you need help with it, in the comments, just simply let us know that you need help with that, and we can try and get you some of those documents. That's not a problem on our end, okay? All you have to do is raise your hand. So again, we're glad you're here. So we'll start with, obviously, the most important document is the contract. I don't think that's any secret that when you're closing out a real estate transaction, you want to make sure that you have the contract in hand. On that particular contract, there's a few things. What I always tell everybody is this: have your contract as much as you can pre-written. You can have it done electronically in today's world, right? And but a lot of times, like we close deals virtually. But, and we teach that when we teach a two-day blueprint, but we also close deals live and in person. And sometimes your seller just simply doesn't want to do it the way that you want to do it. That's where you need to be user-friendly, right? I'll just talk in terms of a physical contract right now. What I would tell you to do is fill out as much of it pre-filled out as you can. So again, you're just being more efficient and it runs smoother. Example, you're probably going to use the same title company every time. So I already have the title company written in with the phone numbers, all that good stuff, right? There's certain things that you're going to do every time, or 99% of the time, you're going to offer $100 in earnest money or $1,000 or whatever. We try and get away with as little as possible. Have as much of it filled out as you can. Okay. But now when it comes to filling out the rest of the contract, if you zeroed in on those things that are staple items for you, then really contracts are easy from this standpoint. You could sit down and write a contract in 60 seconds, meaning this. Typically, all you're going to have left to do is put a closing date on there, put a property address on there, what you're offering, like what's your sales price offer, and then any clauses or inspection windows, any clauses that you want, partner has a right to review the contract before finalizing, stuff like that. Partner review, you name it, escalation clause. But really it's just price, closing date, address, maybe a different earnest money price or whatever. So really a contract can be written in 15, 20, 30 seconds if you do this right. So that's one document that's obviously the staple, the flagship document on any real estate transaction. What are some other things that you need to be aware of or you need to grab or put in place? And again, we're here to help you. Okay. So if you need help, raise your freaking hand. Okay. We'll help you with that. One of them is an assignment contract. So if you're doing wholesaling now I'm kind of diving over into regular wholesaling transactions. You can do an assignment of contract. So you write a contract and then simply have a one-page document. Don't make this tough. Have a one-page document that's an assignment of contract where you have an end buyer that simply just wants to buy the contract that you wrote off of you, and maybe you make 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 grand. You simply assign with an assignment document, you assign the rights to that contract over to your end buyer, deliver both of those to your closing company so that when the transaction closes, whatever that assignment amount is, 4, 5, 6, 10 grand, whatever it is, the title company or title attorney knows to pull out of the proceeds of that transaction, the 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 grand, and put it over into your company name. That's what an assignment contract tells the title company or title attorney to do. So that's a good document to have on file when you want to assign. Now, a little tip on that is this. Most of the time, if you have an assignment that's above 10 grand, 20 grand, 15 grand, 18 grand, 32 grand, we did one that was 73 grand. Normally, you don't want to use that assignment piece of paper because when you do an assignment, that document lets that end buyer know how much you're making, right? So the rule of thumb is once you're starting to make above 10 grand, people get heartburn. So you hear me, you're listening, you're learning here at home. Usually above 10 grand, we don't use an assignment contract. We take the contract we wrote to buy from the homeowner, and we write a whole separate contract to sell it to our end buyer, which means that we have to close at the title company and then turn around 1 minute later and sell it. On an assignment, you don't even have to do that. That assignment document puts the two people together, your homeowner and your end buyer, and the assignment just says how much you get, right? But if it's over 10 grand, you probably want to write a second contract and do what we call a double closing, because then that end buyer doesn't know what your first contract says. They don't know how much money you're making. They can find out later in tax records, but here's why. It's natural. It's natural that people get heartburn. If someone knows that you would, I would too. If I'm buying a property from somebody and the numbers work for me, the numbers work, they work. But if I know that they're making 45 grand on me, that might give me a little bit of heartburn. That's just one tip for you. If it's above 10 grand, you don't use that assignment document. Now, some other things that you may use when you're closing a real estate transaction or a wholesale transaction specifically is a joint venture document. Meaning this, either way, on both sides of the coin here. On one side of the coin, you have a property and someone approaches you and says, hey, can I joint venture on this deal with you? Because I think I know who will buy it. I have a buyer that'll buy it. Let's work out some numbers. Let's say you're trying to make 20 grand and they say, hey, can I make 5 grand of it? And you agree. You guys would want to sign a joint venture agreement so that you guys make sure that you're both a party to the transaction and that everybody knows what each other's making. On the flip side of that, maybe somebody else, another investor has a property out there and they offer it 100 grand, but you know somebody that'll pay 110. You say, hey, if I get you your 100 grand, because I have a buyer that I know will pay it and I can make a little bit of money too. Can we do that? When they say yes, then you want to have a joint venture document to do that transaction together. That's the way that I would do that if I were you. So again, if you need these documents, all you got to do is ask us. Again, that's what we do. And I think most of you already know this. When we do, so we do what we call a 2-day blueprint. It's basically, how do we suffocate a city 30 different ways and get off-market properties 30 different ways, not 5? And so if you want to get more information on that, go to the number 2dayblueprint.com and you'll see some information on what we do. But we have all the documents. I repeat, I'm just shooting a video giving you some staple documents here, but we have every conceivable document. I've been doing this for 20-something years, thousands of transactions under my belt. For the big entities that we do it for that need 1,000 homes in a city, all the transactions myself, and I've trained 25,000 investors. So we have every conceivable document for real estate that you would ever need hanging like an apple from a tree to pluck, right? But again, I'm just talking about a few staple ones right now. But if you want more information, just go to the 2dayblueprint.com and schedule time to talk to us. We'll help you. Okay. Now, some other documents that might be of interest to you when you're doing real estate deals. From time to time, depending on where you are, you may need depending on who your end buyer is. If they're a cash buyer, most of the time they don't care. But sometimes they're sticklers, or your title company or title attorneys are sticklers about it. You need to have your end buyer sign a lead-based paint disclosure. If the house was built before, I think, 1972, the year I was born, showing you my age. If the house was built before a certain date, then you need to sign stating that, hey, I know that there could be lead-based paint here. So that may be a document that you need. We don't use it that often. Sometimes it's required. Here's some other documents that you may need for your transaction. Ones I like to use. And now this depends on what type of lead it is sometimes. Okay. Not every time, but certain lead sources lean more towards utilizing this document to get transactions done. A quit claim deed, QUIT. You can look it up later if you need to. Quit, like you're quitting a job. Quit claim deed. We utilize this if somebody's, if somebody's going to foreclosure, pre-foreclosure. Let's say they're going to foreclosure. We had one where they were going to foreclosure the next day, and we stopped it in less than 24 hours. What document did we utilize? We utilized the contract, and I also persuaded, whatever, negotiated, whatever you want to call it, asked them to sign a quit claim deed. They basically signed a quit claim deed, and I literally had someone on my team drive it to the title company. They drove it down to the recorder's office to get it recorded, and then a recording number so we know it was recorded. Here's why. They were several $1,000s behind, and they were getting ready to lose this house at foreclosure auction the next day. I told them, I said, hey, look, you're going to have a foreclosure on your credit. We can try and stop this and put some money in your pocket, but you're going to lose this tomorrow and get no money. You're going to have to move, and you're going to have foreclosure on your credit for the next 5, 6, 7 years. It's going to follow you around and encumber you. And so I said, I I might, if you'd like, I'd like to strike a deal with you here today and be a solution for you. I'll put some cash in your pocket. I'll eliminate having you a foreclosure on your credit report. But you need to sign this house over to me, because a quit claim deed allows them to quit the claim to the house on the deed. Basically, you're signing your rights over from a title standpoint on that property. You're signing your rights over. You're quitting the claim to this particular property. That's what the document's for. And they basically signed it over to me. Meaning, on title, I'm the legal owner of the house. Now, does the bank still have the right to foreclose no matter who's on title? Absolutely they do. That's why people sign paperwork that's very detailed with deeds and restrictions when they buy a house and they get financing on it. Okay? So they still have the right to foreclose, but I'm the legal owner on title now. So what did that make me comfortable do? That made me comfortable to catch up the back payments, because I know if I catch up the back payments and I don't do that and they're still entitled, they could say, hey, thanks, Jason. I want to put you on my Christmas list. Thanks for catching me up. Now I don't have to move. Well, that's not what I want to do. So this is a document that was needed for me to feel comfortable to catch that pre-foreclosure up. Now I bought myself time to do whatever I needed to do on the back end of the transaction. I'm on title now. I can sell that property, right? So that's a document that you want to be aware of. Another one is an affidavit as to heirs. If somebody's passed away, you have the heirs to the property that you're working with to become a solution, buy the property and make your 30, 40, 50 grand, whatever you're going to do. An affidavit as to heirs. So that's where you have people sign paperwork that have rights to the property to say that I'm the only legal heir, or there's one other one, and you have all the people sign those particular documents. Another document that you may need that you don't really have to fill out or sign, if someone's passed away and somebody else is saying, hey, just take this property from me, and you're being a solution for them and you've come to terms, then a document that you'll need to get from them is a death certificate, right? And so the title company may say, hey, look, I see Sally and Mike Jones on title, but really Mike passed away. So to get that transaction closed, because you've written a contract with Sally Jones, you're going to need to get a death certificate. So just be aware of that to finalize that transaction, right? And so that's another document that you may need. One final document that comes up from time to time, depending on what this property looks like, is that sometimes there's been work performed on a property, but it hasn't been completed. Maybe somebody didn't pay the contractor. So you need to talk to the title company, or you can ask us, but I would talk more local to your area. A title company or a title attorney should have it for you. A lien waiver. And so you need a lien waiver because maybe the contractor placed a lien on a property, contractor's lien or whatever, that needs to be satisfied. I have one transaction going on right now where I need to get a lien waiver for $4,000. So these are some of the documents that you will need to close transactions. If you need help with this, let us know. If this is helpful to you, if we're starting to help you see through the forest and see what running your business the right way from a document standpoint looks like, then subscribe to our channel, hit the bell so that you're notified when we drop more good content. Leave your comments if you need help on it, or just what you liked about it or what you'd like to see from us in the future. And we're here to help you and to your continued success as a real estate investor, whether you're a pro or whether you're just starting. These are some of the documents that you should have ready on every transaction, because if there's one thing I know on deals, they go left, they go right. And a lot of times you make or break deals in the paperwork that you have ready to go, and you don't want somebody to come in and take that good transaction away where you could be a solution for somebody. So hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next video. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.